There's times when I'm doing this where I'm just have since I consider myself like a niche manga reviewer, and since there are so many different mangas to talk about, there is anime, well the types of anime I watch, it really gets to me, like how like which one I will talk about, and then today I realized I'm like, you know what? WrestleMania is this week, because I'm a wrestling fan, and I'm like 9 times out of 10, like the during the main event we're gonna get a cop out, so I was like, how can I use this to my advantage for the videos I plan on doing this week? And then it hit me. I'm like, I have the perfect cop out manga I can talk about. So, without further ado, guys, the sky. Oh boy, this guy. Fun fact. This was literally my first introduction to the series because I was well, back when I was younger, I had a subscription to Tips and Tricks, and if you're as old as I am, you know that that was like a game magazine that also had like cheat codes at the very end of it. But then instead of them do magazines, they just gave out like code books the rest of their run, and they also had like this little article that talked about mangas, and the Sky was on there, and they basically gave the rundown about like it being like a demon prince who's trying to be a overlord, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm interested because I was just trying something new because I was at that time the only other manga I got for that was based on a video game at the time was Kingdom Hearts. Basically, the first 4 volumes, and I never finished Chain of Mirrors for reasons I don't even know to this day. I could have bought the second volume, but I just never did. Um, Anywho, if you're familiar with the game, the plot is basically the same with just like certain characters just being like out of character or just more out there. And for those who haven't played the game, the basic premise of the story is the setting takes place in another world. It was ruled over the King Treskoy, and he basically everyone loved his rule. Like they loved him as an overlord. And then one day he is explicitly died. Like it was explained later, like in the game, like why he died, and it's kind of played off in I say the the anime played it off because they had him choking on a pretzel. I think the manga was basically the same with his dad just dying, like I guess the same reason like how he died in the game, and Lahara was asleep for the past 2 years. Yeah, he was asleep for 2 years, and he was like his naps usually don't take that long, but it's it was a part. It's story related why he was asleep for so long. So, and speaking of Lahara was our main character. He's arrogant, prideful, and OP as hell. And I just love like every panel he was on, like every chapter, like he was on. I fell in love with his character. I'm like, this guy is so badass. And when I later played the games, I'm like, well, shit. They they weren't lying about you being like OP as hell. And the thing I noticed was the relationship he had with his dad here in regards to like the game and how the anime touched upon it. And it's basically like he hated his dad more in this version because of how annoying he was, and he was kind of actually glad he died in that regard. But you know, Edna Sear, she was again had the task of waking him up, and she's basically the same how she is in the game, sly, cunning, in it for herself, like not really respecting Laharo because she's one of the ones who will forever be loyal to King Krisheskoi. And speaking of that, that later leads to like the Sky 2 manga, like how that ended up interplaying with the events of the Sky 2 the game, which I'll touch upon later. But here her story is basically how it was in the game, with her getting her like wanting to get her memories back. And as Flan is just, oh god, Flan. She was basically the same how she was in the game, except she she basically played like a mother role to Laharo. That was her thing compared to how she was in the original, with trying to teach Laharo the concept of love. Like, no, is not here. She just wants. It's like her influence is kind of there. Like she telling Laharo like what he should do and whatnot. And by far the big character change was the Seraph. The Seraph. Oh my god, I was the Seraph was just so funny in this version. I'm like, he was so laid back and so chill, and I'm like, wow, are you really like this in the game? And I'm like, oh, you're really not like this in the game. I'm like, that's kind of. I was disappointed in that regard. Like, oh, you gotta be like just like this in the game. No, he wasn't. He was really serious. And another character, Virus. He also had a change with him being like way more eccentric than how he was portrayed in the games and whatnot. And he was just it was even at a point where where he like Flan accuses him of being like Laharo's stalker and whatnot, and just he's really over the top in here more than anything, and just how he presents himself and his moves. And I was like, I was speechless. I'm like, I got nothing to say on that. Another change that I've noticed too was Lahara actually had vassals in this one. Like they didn't do shit, mind you, but he had vassals compared to how like in the how it was in the game. But he's he still had some, but they didn't do anything. They basically was just laid around, and he had Etna and her prince to rely on. And another thing was the whole tournament thing. That was way different than the game. and just it was basically like they tried to put in elements of the game in there, but just switched it around a bit. Like there was this a scenario where which basically reflected like how the game was, which them trying to get money and them like it was just parademons who were like trying to get money and whatnot, and it was basically a a parallel to like a chapter in the game where Haro was the one who's robbing the demon for money, but Haro was trying to provide the demon with money and ended up getting his sword. So yeah, that's. I don't think they did the scarf thing in this. No, they didn't do the scarf. Haro getting his scarf, the scarf getting pulling out Lahar's sword like that. That's basically been like every occurrence of like everything. Like the anime more than anything was just like, oh, this is where Lahar keeps pulling that damn sword from because he doesn't carry it. So yeah. Um, as far as trans, I like I said, I didn't at this time. I didn't play any other games, and looking back at it now, I'm like I could see like how like someone would get interested because I was invested throughout the end. I was kind of sad that it ended. It only had like a it's a short book. It's a short manga and it's not really that long. I was like, okay, I guess I should play your game now. And oh boy, that was a fun experience on its own. But we'll get to that when we get there. But for me, the sky, it was the characters, the their interactions, like the humor. Oh my god, the humor is what the series has been known for like the longest, and I can and it even each game holds up like and it showed here, but like that's always been like one of the things this guy's been known for. Like it's over the topness, and it, just in every regards of like how basic RPG stuff works and how basic story works too, and it definitely showed here with like the over top scenes with I don't want to spoil anything, but still like you can find the manga you like I don't know if there's an online scanlation because I literally have the physical. This is one of the few mangas I have the physical copy of, and I bought the physical copy of because it was localized here. And but the company who did it went out of business, so there's also another manga I plan on talking about that fall to this same category. It's also by the same company, but still. Um, if you can find it, I highly recommend you read it. And if you really want to just see what the series is like in whole, in general, as like I recommend the anime, which I plan on doing the video of. Not don't worry about it. Um, and also just it's it's available anywhere. Like for if you really want to go into there, you can like they have like multiple versions of on the PSN, the first game, the original version for PS3, the remake, which I highly recommend. That was the version I played, and for PS Vita and PSP. I recommend that version. It's also been announced for Steam, so it's on Steam too. So there go your options. And doing here, guys. See, it wasn't that much of a cop out. I had a lot to talk about with it, basically, mostly because this is my start point into the series, and I really love the sky. Like I rate that as one of my top favorite RPGs, and one of the series I can look forward to. If you've seen my Red Anti-Hero Gaming, like the few Sky 5 videos I did on there, which I did went through the whole playthrough, but endless grinding, so I didn't want to bore you guys with that. I might redo it someday, eventually, but yeah. Anywho, I'm done rambling here, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep it classy, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for Zero's retrospective. And on a side note, I really, really hope we do not get a cop out for WrestleMania. Like, don't do events. Just don't do it. But that Eve thing, though, God, that was, oh God, that was hilarious. That was, oh, oh, so worth it.